Hello, and thanks for tuning in. You're listening to the Harrington Insurance Radio Show on Building Fortunes Radio and the Humongous Radio Network. Mike Harrington is the founder of Harrington Insurance Agency, where he and his team specialize in helping families protect their homes, their loved ones, and their financial futures. Mike helps homeowners answer one critically important question. If something unexpected happened to you, would your family be able to remain in the home they love? Through personalized guidance and straightforward explanations, Harrington Insurance Agency helps individuals and families understand mortgage protection, insurance, life insurance, living benefits, final expense coverage, tax-free retirement strategies, and Medicare planning. Mike believes insurance should be understandable, personal, and designed around your specific situation, not a confusing, one-size-fits-all process. You can learn more and request a no-cost consultation at Harrington-insurance-agency.com. The Harrington Insurance Radio Show is available through Building Fortunes Radio, the Humongous Radio Network, Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and other major podcast platforms. Now let's get started.
Hello, everyone. Peter Mingils here. You are listening to the Harrington Insurance Agency Radio Show on the Building Fortunes Radio Network. My name is Peter Mingils. We have Mike Harrington here. This is actually his show. We could call it the Mike Harrington Show if you wanted to, but the reality is that we are here talking about different and various things related mostly to life's important things like, insurance and philosophy and a whole bunch of other things as far as planning. And one of the reasons why I really enjoy this show with Mike is because there's a pretty big portion of our Building Fortunes Radio listening audience that either they're providers for their family, they're the dads, the moms, the grandmas, the cousins, the brothers, or whatever that really care about a lot of different things. And they need to be informed and educated, but most importantly, make a decision. Like, you got to do something. All this stuff is just talk unless it's actually done. So Mike sells insurance. He's a really super good guy. We've been working with him for a number of years, and we're going to be talking about mortgage protection insurance. And I think on this radio show, we're going to be talking about term insurance. And for a lot of people that don't grow up in the insurance background or maybe have family or kids or whatever that are doing that sort of stuff, it's kind of like a foreign subject. And a lot of people think about it, but I guess not as many really probably do it. So in my personal situation, I'm getting older, so there's people that are passing away in front of me, and I realize who's done it right, who's done it wrong. Because we do the radio show, we're affected by a lot of people's lives, so we touch a lot of people's lives, and I see who's done it right and who's done it wrong. And I'll share with you, this conversation that Mike's going to have with you probably could either be the most important one for a lot of people relative to you, or maybe start a conversation and you want to give Mike your business. So he deals in a couple of different states and has a couple of different products. So super good guy. Make sure you talk to him. And I want to say thanks, Mike Harrington, for being here and doing all the great things that you do. So let's kick off another radio show.
Thank you, Peter. Can you hear me okay?
You are coming through fine.
Thanks, Peter. Well, thanks again for having me. Another week on Tuesday radio show, and that means a lot to me. And talking about different things that is so important to people that most people don't think is important. However, people don't need life insurance until they need it. And if they don't have it when they need it, there's a lot of things that can really upend your life. So today we're discussing something many people postpone because it forces us to think about an uncomfortable question. Let's face it. What would happen financially if we were no longer here? Now, today our subject is term life insurance, and this is what I want to explain to people. Term life insurance, what it is not, who may need it, and how much coverage a family might consider, and what questions you should ask before signing an application. Now, as Peter mentioned, I am an insurance broker, CEO of Harrington Insurance Agency. My name is Michael Harrington. I am licensed in New York, Pennsylvania, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas. New states are being added all the time. So I want to welcome everybody to the program. And again, Peter, thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
So this is an important conversation, Peter, because term insurance can be relatively straightforward. Most people have heard, not to create a pun, but heard the term insurance. But a lot of people still make costly mistakes involving the amount, the length of coverage, who their beneficiaries are, and the conditions of the policy. Now, let's begin with what I'm going to say is the simplest possible definition. What exactly is term insurance? Now, term insurance is life insurance that provides coverage for a defined period, i.e. a term. Depending on the product, that may be a certain number of years or coverage until a specified age. And Peter, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to jump in. Now, during that term, the policyholder obviously pays the required premium. Now, if the insured person dies while the policy is in force and the claim is covered by the contract, the insurer pays the policy's death benefit to the named beneficiary, whatever that policy amount is and whoever the beneficiary is. Now, here's an important caveat. If the insured person, and Peter, I think you experienced this and you talked about it in previous shows. If the insured person is still living when the term ends, the original coverage normally ends unless that policy contract provides a renewal, conversion, or other continuation option. And term is best described as coverage for a set period with a death benefit payable when the insured dies during that period.
Hey, Mike,
also,
can I stop you? Can I stop you there?
Certainly.
Only because let me use a real-life example. And I guess fortunately or unfortunately, I'm 64 now, so I'm getting older. So I've had some life experiences to be able to compare this to. So when I was in my early 30s, I was married, still am, have 3 kids, still do, but my kids were much younger. So we're talking like much, much, much younger. And I was running a business, meaning PM marketing, and I realized that, oh my gosh, if anything happened to me, lots of things would start to cascade in a negative sense because I was really I was everything. I was, when I say everything, financially everything. I was the bread owner. I was the guy that did everything. I controlled all the business, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. So I said, how much do I need really for my family if I were to die? If they mourn or whatever, it is what it is. But so they could live comfortably. And I figured on $1 million. And I bought $1 million of term insurance on, I think it was 20 years, Mike, as far as the term, meaning the rate was guaranteed at $120. So it was guaranteed at $120 for, I think it was 20 years. Should have did 30, but it was 20 years. And when it was done, it was done. And I was taking a gamble. Hey, $120 a month. I'd probably spend it on something else anyway. And I was going to be making sure I provided for my family. If I died, going through the gruesome things, whatever happened, and my wife would probably remarry, and eventually whatever would be, but the house would be paid for, the kids could go to college. I'd be able to take them for the next, with $1 million, you probably should be able to be okay for a while. And then the 20 years ended. And then I got the note that 20 years are ending, and they gave me a year to kind of bump it up a little bit. I don't remember what it was. But then they said, now we got to do a medical exam if they want to continue. And I failed the medical exam. For my whole entire life, everybody's been telling me I'm a diabetic. And I'm like, listen, I'm not a diabetic. Maybe by your standards I might be, but I'm not. I mean, I know what I am. And I don't take insulin, never took a drug. I still don't do any drugs or anything like that except for eye drops for my glaucoma. But the reality is I failed my medical. So they were going to give it to me, but give it to me like 5 times the amount, which at that time it made no sense to be spending $500 a month for life insurance for much less of a coverage. So that's what happened to me. That's what happened to me. I wasn't even thinking about it, but that's what happened to me. And then I went to go get another life insurance company. Same thing. Girl comes in. She says, oh, you have diabetes. I'm like, what the hell are you people talking about? My medical doctor got their pen clicking every time I go in there. You're a diabetic. I don't know if I am or not. The reality is that I can't get life insurance because of my medical situation. I wasn't expecting that. So we'll talk about more of my situation later on, doesn't matter. But my situation may reflect a lot of other people's situations. Number one, that if you're buying this stuff in your 30s, that's the best time to buy it. And I should have bought it for 30 years, or as long as they would give me to get that rate, number one. Number two, maybe that wasn't even the right insurance for me at that time. So I was making decisions. Here's my most important point. I was making decisions for me, being the least informed person in the room, which is probably a mistake. That's why I'm doing this radio show. For those people that are listening in, you have your own knowledge about your own situation, but call Mike Harrington, because he's the most educated person in the room on your behalf. So it's not the insurance guy that's calling you like he's trying to earn just a commission for just, putting you in a deal that he thinks is best for you. Call Mike Harrington. So, Mike, I figured let me just interject a little bit of real-life experience into that conversation. So I might be perking up some of the ears of some other people that might be saying, oh, man, I never thought about that, or holy cow, I didn't even think that was possible. So I'm giving you, I'm 64 now. This is the stuff that I'm dealing with, and I'm going to have to make some other tough decisions if I live longer. Now, if I die at the end of this radio show, I'm covered. You know what I mean? I got stuff going on, so I'm okay. But if I keep living longer, I don't know, Mike. That's why I'm perking up my ears listening to you on this radio show. So I'll let you continue.
Well, thank you, Peter. And those are things that, that the audience needs to hear. And, some of the things that I try to impart upon people, especially younger people, the daredevils of the world, and I was one, you were one, and, term insurance is very, let's say, inexpensive, if you get it early enough. And, there's situations where you may have a single parent that has children, and they're out there with no insurance. Could be a recipe for a disaster. So, getting back to explaining this term insurance, it is a coverage for a set period with the death benefit, again, payable when the insured dies during that period. Now, it's generally less expensive than permanent insurance during the early years of coverage. So when we say term insurance, we're talking about the period of protection, not the amount of money that might be paid. So I want to repeat that. Term insurance, we're talking about the period of protection, not the amount of money that might be paid. So think of it as protection purchase for a particular, let's say, season of life. Let me give you an example. So a parent may want protection during the years when children are financially dependent. A couple, and this goes back to our other radio shows, a couple may want coverage while they have a large mortgage. In other words, mortgage protection insurance. Now, a business owner may need protection while a loan or business obligation is outstanding. Now, the SBA does require a life insurance policy on loans. So that's something to consider as well. And realizing the financial responsibility may be temporary, but it really doesn't make it unimportant. Now, another question a lot of people ask me, does term insurance build savings? Now, most traditional term policies do not build cash value. You're primarily paying for the death benefit protection during that policy term. Now, that is one major difference between term insurance and permanent life insurance. Permanent policies may be designed to remain in force throughout the insured's period's lifetime and may, and I say may, include a cash value component. while term insurance usually focuses on providing a larger amount of temporary protection for a comparatively lower initial premium. And, you know, I'm reading and listening to all kinds of, you know, Forbes magazines and all these other, and a lot of the younger generation are starting to realize that term insurance, having some kind of insurance is important. And the premiums, Peter, you mentioned it, at a young age are, you know, as long as you're healthy and, you know, a lot of it is, you know, immediate decision. Typically what we do is take, you know, there's no medical exam, but we do most applications, you know, they have a section for your medications. We put those down, and then you submit it, and if everything's okay, it's instant decision, and you're on your way. So, you know, it's I'm so passionate about this because I see, you know, Peter, the other thing too, and you've seen it too, you know, you're out and about, the way people are driving these days, and I say it all happened after COVID. Everybody's nuts on the road, and they're speeding, they're doing all kinds of things. I know here in Buffalo, just recently, there were 3 people killed on an e-bike. And, you know, those kind of things, younger people, you know, they don't take into consideration, and God forbid, you know, a single parent, man or woman that has a younger child, if they're not protected and something like that happens, you know, that situation, you know, the parents have to take over or whatever. But, you know, for the amount of investment to protect a family, especially with term insurance, it's almost, you know, it's not required, but it should be. You know what I mean? So, anyway.
Hey, if you're conscious of what's going on in your life or around your life, you realize at any given time you might be a second, or maybe a step, or maybe anything away from a total disaster, like that could totally change your life. You trust total strangers every single day for the things that are most important to you. So not to insure yourself against that is just not paying attention. I don't know how else to say it. Like, you just got, like, if you don't realize how lucky you are every single day that disaster hasn't happened, you're just not aware of your surroundings, is all I have to say.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, you know, it's just like I said. You know, you mentioned you're 64 and I'm 68, and you know, I look at things a lot different than I did when I was in my 20s. You know, the daredevil thing, and you know, nothing's going to happen to me. And but you know, the world, you know, the world has changed. People are operating different, and you know, you've really got to be aware of your surroundings, and, you know, you should be covered in the event that, you know, something does happen to you. So let's ask another question here. Are all term policies the same? And the answer is no. There are some common structures that, you know, you've heard of. Level term, that's where the stated death benefit and scheduled premium generally remain level during the guaranteed term. In other words, if you have a 30-year term and you got it today and it's $30 a month, it's going to be $30 a month throughout that term. Renewable term, some policies allow the policyholder to continue coverage after the original period without new evidence of insurability. However, the renewal premium will follow a different schedule, meaning age and so on. Convertible term, which may allow the policyholder to exchange the term coverage for an eligible permanent policy within a specified conversion period that's stated within the contract documents. And decreasing term, where the death benefit reduces over time. Now, this is, Peter, in the previous shows when we were talking about mortgage protection insurance, there is a straight mortgage protection insurance where the term follows the mortgage. That would be decreasing term. However, in that case, the premium remains level, but the death benefit reduces over time. That's not usually what I recommend. A straight mortgage protection insurance, life insurance term policy, that's typically the way to go. Of course, everything, depends on the situation. And the last one I'm going to talk about here is ROP, which is return of premium term, which may return some or all eligible premiums when the insured survives the term and satisfies the policy conditions. Now, return of premium coverage generally costs more than basic term coverage, typically 2 to 5 times what that regular is. So it just depends. It may not be that much, but, again, a lot of this, Peter, is age advantage, right? If you're in your 20s and 30s, it's going to be a lot less expensive than if, you're in your 50s to 60s trying to get a policy when you were 20 or 30 on the cost.
Insurance companies aren't trying to lose money. They're not trying to lose money. They're going to try to make money on every policy they write.
Yep. So based on this particular segment here, what's the one sentence takeaway? Well, it's term insurance is temporary life insurance designed to transfer the financial risk of someone dying during a defined period. Now, insurance, that definition generally works by transferring specified financial risks from the individual to the insurer, meaning the insurance company, in exchange for a premium. That's basically what it is. So any questions there, Peter?
Nope, we're good.
All right. So let's, I don't know how much, are we out of time?
It doesn't matter what time. No, we got plenty of time. Because I'm the one who pushes the button. I could do a commercial break, though, just kind of break it up a little bit.
Okay.
We'll do a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
You've been listening to the Harrington Insurance Radio Show on Building Fortunes Radio and the Humongous Radio Network. Your home is more than a building. It is where your family lives, grows, and creates memories. But if something unexpected happened to you, would the people you love be able to continue making the mortgage payments and remain in their home? Mortgage protection insurance can help provide financial protection for your family if a covered policyholder passes away. Mike Harrington and the team at Harrington Insurance Agency help families review their needs, understand their options, and find coverage designed around their circumstances and financial goals. Harrington Insurance Agency provides personalized service, clear guidance, and year-round support to clients in Florida, Georgia, New York, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Texas. There is no additional fee for the agency's services because compensation is provided by its insurance carrier partners. Protect your home, protect your family, protect your financial future. Visit Harrington-insurance-agency.com to request a no-cost consultation. Now, back to the Harrington Insurance Radio Show. Take it away, Peter.
And we are back. Peter Mingils here with Mike Harrington. This is the Mike Harrington Radio Show. It's Harrington Insurance Agency. And if you go to a couple of the websites, we'll put in the show description. Mike's going to give you his phone number, too, as we deal with this. You'll be able to get some show notes in the description, be able to hear this, as well as all things. Again, if you go to MikeHarrington-insurance.com, we put actually a series of these radio shows together on that to be able to listen to them in order or forever. So, Mike, thanks for being here, and let's continue this really interesting conversation.
Okay. Again, Peter, thanks for having me. In this part, I'm not going to take a lot of time because we can always continue this next week. I've put together a lot of information here. So the question now is, okay, we understand what it is, and so who might need it? And some of the listeners out there might be saying, or they will be saying when they listen to the radio show, well, I understand the product, but do I actually need it? And what I tell people on life insurance, somebody comes to me and says, well, I don't need life insurance. Well, no, you don't. But your family does, or somebody that counts on you does, in the event that something happens to you. So I usually begin with one central question. Would someone experience a serious financial problem if I died? Now, that is really the question, more so than simply asking, well, are you married, do you have children, or how old are you? Now, term insurance may be worth considering when a person depends on your income, your unpaid work, your caregiving, or your ability to meet a shared financial obligation, let's say a mortgage. So let me give you a practical example. Imagine a couple named Marcus and Elena. They have 2 children, a mortgage, and 2 incomes. Marcus pays approximately half of the household expenses. If he died unexpectedly, Elena might have to cover the mortgage, child care, utilities, transportation, food, future education costs with only one income. A term policy on Marcus would not replace him. Nothing could. But it could provide money that gives Elena choices. Remain in the home. That's what we've been talking about on the mortgage protection insurance shows. Take time away from work, pay for the child care, reduce the debt, or create a financial transition period. The same analysis, could be performed for Elena. Families sometimes insure only the highest earner, but losing the other parent may also create a significant financial burden. Well, what do I mean by that? Typically, when one parent might stay home with the children, a stay-at-home parent might not receive a salary, but the services that person provides have economic value. Child care, transportation, meal preparation, the household management, any tutoring, an elder care might have to be replaced. Surviving partner might also need to reduce work hours. So life insurance needs, this is real important, life insurance needs are not determined only by the number that's printed on a paycheck. Now, I'll give you another example, Peter, and then we'll wind it up for this week. What about a single person with no children? Of course, that person might have a smaller need or possibly no immediate need at all. But still, you should ask several questions. Does anyone depend on my financial support? Is anyone, and this could possibly be a parent, is anyone jointly responsible for a mortgage, lease, private loan, or a business debt? Do I regularly support a parent, sibling, or another relative? Would someone need money to handle final expenses or settle all my affairs? Do I expect to have dependents in the future? And would waiting affect my available options? And the last thing I'm going to say about that little segment there is the correct answer is personal. Life insurance should solve an identifiable financial problem, not to be purchased merely because someone created a sense of urgency. And I think, Peter, that would be a good place to stop. I've got another radio show put together here on this because term insurance is probably the most popular, especially for younger people. It is one of those things that if you don't have it, at least talk to me, give me a call. My number, my 800 number, which is answered live, 877-293-3994. That's 877-293-3994. And it's Mike at Harrington-insurance-agency.com. That's Harrington spelled with an A, not an E. And, there's no, Peter, you know me. You've known me for a lot of years. There's no high pressure. There's no, I'm not talking you into it. What I'm doing is presenting the facts on what is available. And then you, the client, have the opportunity to make a responsible decision based on your current situation, whether you think that this type of protection is going to be beneficial for you. And, I would say, well, absolutely. And, again, no high pressure. I'm here to work with you. And by the way, Peter, there is no cost to work with me. I am paid by the carriers. In the event that I submit a policy on an individual, I am paid by the insurance company. So, I'm a phone call away, happy to help. We'll run some scenarios. And these instant decision applications, they're very quick. I get a little piece of information, maybe some medications, and most medical exams aren't required. So it doesn't take long out of your busy day to get your family covered, and I can guarantee you'll sleep better at night once you do so.
Absolutely. So I'm all over this conversation. So because of, my own personal situation, plus the situation that happens around me with the people we talk to. So that's why I'm really excited to be able to present, if you will, Mike Harrington in front of our Building Fortunes Radio listening audience, because it can make a huge difference, and it probably should even tighten it up a little bit more than that. It will make a huge difference for a lot of you if you're listening in. If you don't have this in place, you got to take action. So Mike's the nice guy. I'm the heavy. I'm like, you got to do this. You're freaking nuts. You got to make sure that you take care of yourself and your family, or just think it through. Like, you got to think it through. I'm conscious of, I grew up in New York, so my head's always been on a swivel, with, danger could be in any given place. So maybe I'm a little bit more conscious of that. I've run a business for as long as I can remember, so my head's always on a swivel looking back and forth. So I realize I might be more aware than most people of how fragile life really is, because I've been experiencing it with so many different people, and I experience their lives when we do their stuff as well. So I'll share with you, you got to take a serious look at this conversation, and the best person in the world to do with is Mike Harrington. And if he can help you, he'll help you. If he can give you some helpful advice, and if he can't, he'll tell you, no, I just can't help. So he'll give you this true scoop. So check him out, Harrington-insurance-agency.com, Harrington-insurance-agency.com. And Mike, I know you might have given the phone number out on previous radio shows. Give your phone number out one more time, please.
Yeah, it's 877-293-3994. That's Mike Harrington, insurance broker, Harrington Insurance Agency, Inc., at 877-293-3994.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in. You've just finished listening to the Harrington Insurance Radio Show on Building Fortunes Radio and the Humongous Radio Network. We hope today's program gave you valuable information, helped you better understand your options, and encouraged you to take practical steps toward protecting your home, your family, and your financial future. Mike Harrington is the founder of Harrington Insurance Agency, where he and his team specialize in helping families understand mortgage protection insurance and other important financial protection solutions. Whether you are considering mortgage protection, life insurance, living benefits, final expense coverage, tax-free retirement strategies, or Medicare planning, Mike provides personalized guidance based on your situation and specific needs. Visit Harrington-insurance-agency.com or call 877-293-3994 to learn more and request a no-cost consultation. On behalf of Mike Harrington, Peter Mingils, and everyone at Building Fortunes Radio and the Humongous Radio Network, thank you for listening. You can hear the Harrington Insurance Radio Show through Building Fortunes Radio, Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and other major podcast platforms. Until next time, remember, protect your home, protect your family, protect your financial future.